Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Paranormal Decoded. This is your host, Monique Esberry. In today's message that I have for you all, I am really calling forth people to wake up. We have another tragedy in this country, tragedies that go on every second, actually, in this country. But one that has given visibility is the recent murder of Alex Preddy. America has a lot of old bones clinking and clacking and screaming and chattering into old walls, old tombs, old commercial buildings. Yes, that's right. Because we have so much turmoil in this country that has yet to have been reconciled, unfortunately, there will be more and more spiritual residual that will reside in old hallways, in new foundations. When we continue as a country to ignore our consciousness, to ignore the call forth to being a hybrid human, a more advanced human, and when we fall back into a stupor of sleep where we are so afraid of losing our assets and making a stand because of we're very comfortable in where we are, then we know that we are indeed fallen stars. Right now in this country, there is a lot of mumbling of old bones singing and moaning, wondering why hasn't anyone really made a stand in so well, I'll say this, people are making a stand. But when you make a stand, somehow you get shot and killed. Okay? So what you all will begin to see more and more of is residual hauntings. Yes, you will. Now, what I mean by that is when you are murdered, it doesn't matter your spirituality. When you are murdered or killed suddenly, there is a splice of your energy that is still left to heal. This is why there are so many spirits that are still restless. It doesn't mean that their entire human cavity is actually stuck in the spiritual realm. It means a splice of it, a part of it is stuck. There are many splices of us. There are many phases of us. There is an infinite universe where we are living in multiple dimensions at the same time. So what happens is when you're killed suddenly, which has happened to numerous people, it could have even happened to me in another lifetime, then there's a part of you that needs to be healed. There's a ghost or a shadow of you that may be stuck somewhere in a whole nother country. It could be in a whole nother state. It could be anywhere in the world. Some of you have reoccurring nightmares about certain things, and you're trying to figure out, why do I keep having these same nightmares? And you're having these nightmares because there's a part of you that is still stuck. In light of what's happened to Alex, sadly, this has happened to Black people. It happens to us every day. Every day a Black person is murdered in this country under the hands of law enforcement. And we are used to it. We are used to going to funerals. In fact, I went to one just a few months ago. My cousin was murdered by the police. So it's not a wake-up call until it affects other people. And then a lot of folks will start to really see like, hey, we really have a problem. But why does it take the murder of someone who is non-Black to really wake people up to see the imbalance that we have in this country? I applaud many people who have made a stand, who have been protesting, who have been not afraid to go on social media to make to just make a stand. When we talk about a democracy, what are we actually referring to? I think that in this country, there's going to have to be a lot of things that are rewritten. The laws need to be modified. The word freedom needs to be adjusted because we're not free. We're in fact we're spiraling into a backwards void of a civil war. Many of us have been speaking about a civil war. How does a civil war happen? It happens when there's division in communities. It happens when there's division in different ideologies and different perspectives that leads to such fury that it could end up costing someone's life. So in this country, we have a lot of people who are on the brink of getting ready to just let loose. It's already happening, like popcorn in the night. Just like the noise outside of this door that you may be hearing, we have a lot of noise that is going on in people's minds where the mental illness is getting to a point where when you don't feel like you have a foundation, you don't feel like you can trust your nation, you begin to lose grip, some of us. Now, I'm not losing my grip, but I'm speaking holistically for many people who do not feel like they can trust this country. So, if you have had a loved one that has been unjustly killed, especially by law enforcement, military, or whatever it is, that's because the individual that pulled that trigger had their own mental illness and demons. But when we live in a country where people are too afraid to really rattle and say, like, let's stop, let's pull our stocks out, let's pull out our investments. Do we need to go back to what happened during the civil rights? The bus transportation company damn near shut down and went out of business because the black people who were the biggest consumers, financial consumers of the transportation business, decided they were not going to support the transportation business because of what was happening. In the moment that they began to protest and they stopped taking the bus and they said, screw it, we're going to figure out another way to get to where we need to go. We're going to carpool, we're going to walk, we're going to sweat. The bus said, okay, we will not have you all sitting on the back of the bus anymore. And that all came from Rosa Parks. Okay, so this is why I talk about in Paranormal Decoded, I talk about history. It started off as Call of My Ancestors. But the more I research history, the more I see how important it is to know your history, to know what has happened, to know why stagnant energy continues to stay stagnant. When you don't know your history, you are doomed to repeat it. There has got to come a time where we start to question, how am I going to invest my money? What businesses am I going to support? What lawmaker is not making a stand? Do I vote for them again? Like, you need to get to this point, people, before you become earthbound. That's a scary thought. What is earthbound? I'll tell you. Pretty scary business. When you're earthbound, that means your energy, when you die, is stuck. It's stuck because you made a conscious decision to love the material more than your fellow brethren and sisters. You chose to fall in love with your house more than your spouse. You chose to fall in love with your career and your car more than the stars of people around you. And when you have an attachment to something that is an object, something that yes contains atoms and energy, because it contains energy, these physical things that you love so much, your part of your energy will become earthbound or stuck to that particular object. So this is where we're at. You're going to see more and more residual hauntings. You're going to see more and more things happening in your homes because there's a lot of restless old bones. How do you become unstuck? First of all, how did you become earthbound? Some of you all are going to become earthbound. You're going to pass away and you can hoop and holler in church all day long, sadly, it doesn't mean you're going to what you want to call heaven. If you think singing for 1 billion years in the clouds is fun, then you need to go get a new career, a spiritual career. We have a lot of work to do in the afterlife. Some of us, when we pass on, we will be reborn again. We'll be simultaneously living other lives and helping our loved ones. But others, while you think that you are really doing something, when you had a choice where you could have made a stand against injustice and you chose to be quiet because in your mind you'd rather save your job. I'd rather save my peace. I'd rather save my material wealth than actually just making a stand. If we had a large number of people that were not afraid to just really make a stand against things that are just not right, the world would actually be a better place. There's power in numbers, people. Do you know that people have more power than you even realize? But you've been told that you don't have power, or you've been told that you have to rely on somebody to tell you how to think, how to spend your money, how to raise your children, that you don't have your own autonomy. We've been brainwashed since we were children to follow after another person, but yet we didn't realize some of the people we've been following are lost themselves. You imagine following someone without a head, like a person walking around headless. This is what is happening. We're following after people that have no head. They have no stamina. They have no consciousness. They have no empathy. They don't have sympathy. They are stoic. Their hearts are rigid. They live in fear. And they have the nerve to be leaders. Leaders in corporate, leaders in schools, leaders in music, in movie, entertainment, music, whatever. I don't know why I keep saying music, because a lot of people are following after, like P. Diddy, for example. You're following after headless foes, okay, that have no backbone and they have no soul. Soulless. Can you be soulless and still have a physical form? Yes. Soulless meaning there is like a divine umbilical cord connection that the living beings have. But I believe that there are some people that, well, I would call a lot of narcissistic people that are detached from the human soul. They're just here. Like you ever just see an object and it's just there. You wonder, how did it get there? Well, it takes up space. And they not only take up space, but they become a vacuum, and they absorb space. They're like energy vampires. Okay, these are dangerous people. Every one of us has these types of people in our families, in the workplace, and you're wondering why you are being depleted. Okay, these are headless leaders, headless family members, headless so-called friends, headless people. So you have to recognize in your soul journey, like who am I following after? And you have to have enough self-love to say, you know what? I I'm going to trust in this what they call universe. I'm going to trust in Allah, Jesus, or whatever you believe in. But when you have that trust, you have to also trust yourself. A lot of people hide behind religion as if that's going to save you. Religion is not going to save you. Religion is a system. Religion is a business. It's an organized business. Spirituality and truth is what's going to save your mind and your soul and protect yourself. So there are differences. So what I want to say is this. We are entering into a phase in this country where if you at this time do not start to really work on your inner self, like you're going to be amongst the lost. There's going to be a polarity. There's going to be a separation from the good vibrations, people striving, getting hit by rocks, meteors, getting cut down, standing up and still persevering, looking for truth, searching, materializing their future. And there's going to be a polarity of people that are going to be earthbound, that are going to be stuck in their rigid ways of decay, that are going to continue to ignore their consciousness, that when they have been given a chance to stand up and do right, they chose to do wrong because they wanted that promotion. Their hearts are dark and they're not looking to share resources. They're looking to become energy vampires. These are the people that you may be walking amongst. Be very, very careful. The last thing I'm going to say is be careful who you spend your time with. If the people you're spending your time with are siphoning off your energy, you have no idea how that can actually derail you from your future. If these people are looking to get you off your path, make you doubt yourself, make you mute your voice so you don't make a stand, those are the same people that will get you right off course. You may go off course for 5 years. You may go off course for 10 years. You may encounter sickness during that time. You could even die. This is serious business, people. Children. Many children right now are old souls. These old souls that have lived before and they are back. We have the truth of and the power in this is that because we have our old souls that are being reborn, there is confidence in that life will continue to persist. And it's very critical that we protect our children, that we protect our children and teach them the truth, because the examples that children are seeing right now are a bunch of adults that have no moral compass. So if children are growing up seeing this, it doesn't mean that they have to follow. Many children are making a conscious decision to teach adults, to speak, to write, to teach. Protect and guard them, people. Mothers, fathers, don't let your kids, your precious child, walk alone at night by themselves. Protect what they watch on TV, on their phones, who they talk to. I saw a kid the other day, I swear he had to have been no older than 10 years old, walking down the street like on a bit near a busy highway with a wagon. Like his mother allowed that. Maybe she had to work 2 jobs. Perfect recipe for kidnapping or sex trafficking. When adults are so distracted, you're not paying attention to your kids, to the community. When you're so consumed in nonsense, some of this stuff y'all are into is just garbage. Sexual garbage. Just crazy stuff that's out there on the internet, where you haven't resolved your childhood issues, your own traumas. So you have your kids and you're not protecting them because you're not healed. But these are our old souls that need to be protected. So I am calling forth an action for whoever is still listening, because I have 65 countries that have access to this podcast. And I appreciate y'all for, I have some dedicated followers, even when I have fallen off on my podcast, that continue to at least support what I'm doing. So I'm asking you today to make a stand. Don't let people disrespect you. Don't resort to violence, but make a stand against injustice. Make a stand against a corrupt leader in your work. Tip off, do something. You have to trust that the universe will be the one to take care of you. It's not man that's going to take care of you. You say, universe, please take care of me. I had to pray that prayer because I felt like, God, I do help people I mean, I'm one of those people that you could take advantage of me. I've been taken advantage of numerous times because I do have a big heart. But I also know when people are taking advantage of me. But sometimes you just have to help people, even though they may not even have the right intentions. Some people know you don't help, but there are those times you may have to. So what do? You trust in the universe to support you. I'm in a situation now. I'm not like, it's nothing but God, the universe, that is guiding and showing me I can't do nothing without God's help. I can't do nothing without the universe's help. I can't do nothing. And I've been able to see how God has made a way. When I have been low on funds, I've been investing tons of money in my business and moving money around. And there were times where I'm like, oh my, you know what? I actually stopped worrying about money. You know why? Because I had a dream that in another life I was a ghost because I was earthbound. I was so worried about money during, I think it was around the Great Depression. I was so worried that I stayed stuck in my house. I didn't want to leave it. And ever since I had that nightmare, I really said, I've got to change. I can't get stressed out when the stock market changes, when financial things change. Do I put my trust in man or do I trust in the abundance of the universe? I'm choosing the universe today. So choose the universe when you are making a decision to leave your job, to leave a toxic situation, to leave a company that you've maybe you ran a company for a long time. Maybe you're leaving a school. When you're making a conscious decision to do that, you're thinking, how am I going to feed? How am I going to eat? How am I going to pay my bills? Rock bottom isn't so bad, people. If you have to hit rock bottom in order to get back to the top, it's okay. If you've lost everything and you've become homeless, it's okay. You can hit rock bottom and still move, make a huge power move. Many of our celebrities that we love so much, some of them have been homeless because they believed in their dream so much. They lost everything, but they kept that dream in their heart to keep going. And when you persevere like that, you build momentum in the spiritual realm. That's energy, that's real kinetic energy. And that energy has to go somewhere and it has to be converted based off of the formula that you put into the energy. If your formula is success, dedication, power, love, endurance, dream building, legacy building, and you look around and you don't see those things materialize, you've already put in the formula. You entered it in the spiritual calculator and it will output the formula for you. So I think I had enough to say. But that's really what I wanted to share, that we've got there's going to be some changes. And in this podcast, some of you aren't going to like what I'm talking about, when it comes to, being earthbound, haunted objects, and the wrath that is coming to America. There's a spiritual wrath and it's on its way.